The Blueground is an alternative service to sites like Airbnb and Vrbo with a focus on longer-term rentals of at least a month long with a higher-end aesthetic that you can find pretty consistently in their apartments around the world. If you're a traveling professional, digital nomad, or you just like to take extended stays in one of 18 cities around the world, then the Blueground has a lot to offer. It basically gets right a lot of what Airbnb gets wrong, but unfortunately, it also gets wrong a lot of the things that Airbnb gets right. I recently rented a Blueground apartment in Denver, Colorado to show you what the experience is like, the good, the bad, and a whole lot of what could be better. Hi everybody, foXnoMad here, and today I want to help you travel smarter by reviewing the Blueground and showing you whether or not it's worth using this service as an alternative to Airbnb, Vrbo, or other apartment rental sites. The Blueground has been around since 2013, but you may not have heard about it because it doesn't quite have the market share or name recognition of sites like Airbnb or Vrbo. The way the Blueground works is they basically rent a bunch of apartments in cities like Madrid, Dubai, Istanbul, Berlin, Washington, D.C., New York, and Denver. Their design team then comes in and furnishes those apartments, giving them a very consistent look from apartment to apartment and city to city. So you see a lot of the same aesthetic design choices, a lot of the same furniture, like the same couch, the same bed, and the same appliances, the same television, and overall the same look between apartment to apartment. The benefit of that consistency means you know the style you're going to get inside the apartment. A modern, minimalist, metallic, white and black look. And it's a look that's welcoming and really easy to settle into. The floors and furniture are all nearly new and the apartments are all professionally cleaned before you show up. There's a lot of good, but there are also a couple of parts of the booking process which cause a disconnect between what you see in person and what you saw on the screen when you were booking. During the search for apartments, you'll see a listing of the available places and the dates you can move in. You can adjust the dates, and I found booking about 2 to 3 weeks in advance tends to yield the best price results. But, and this is the first but, the prices you're shown in the listings aren't the final price you end up paying. For starters, the Blueground always shows you the lowest possible price, but that's often not the 1-month price. Typically, the rate you're shown is for a 12-month rental, which can be quite a bit lower than you might be expecting for a 1 or 2-month stay. You can, of course, enter the dates you want to stay and have the listings shown with prices for your duration, but even that can be confusing since sometimes the longer stays end up being a little bit more expensive. Regardless, when you decide on a booking, you're taken to the reservation page, which has a few more fees. Utilities are included with the properties, but that's an add-on fee to what you are shown in the search results. Depending on where in the world you are, utilities can be several $100s. And on top of that, there are often more fees like cleaning, which can be over $200, as well as more fees like insurance, which can increase the rate by hundreds of dollars more. In other words, an apartment you saw for $1,800 a month can end up being $2,600 when all is said and done. That percentage of variation between the price that you're shown and the price that you actually end up paying is something that sites like Airbnb used to do up until pretty recently. After numerous complaints, Airbnb now shows you the total, like the total of what you'll pay when you finally book. It shows you that price in the search results. The Blueground booking and search experience would be so much better if you could just see the final price that you're going to end up paying in the search results, and even better yet, just see a breakdown of the rent and then any other fees that they've added underneath that total so that you could see a breakdown of the price when you're doing the search. And it's the same with pet fees. If you're traveling with your cat or dog, many apartments will accept them with a fee. That fee can be $50 a month, but come with a non-refundable $500 deposit, which is really expensive if you're traveling for a month or two. Also, no monkeys or miniature horses allowed. Now, I get why the Blueground has these deposits for pets, for example, because in a lot of cities like Denver, Washington, D.C., New York, depending on the building, if you have a pet, chances are there's going to be a deposit for that pet. So if you're renting a 12-month or 14-month lease apartment somewhere and you had a pet with you, like a dog or a cat, then you would end up paying that deposit. The problem is when you're booking an apartment for 1 or 2 months and changing that apartment, it doesn't scale really well if you've got a pet with you and then you've got to pay $500 each time you move. Blueground also has what they call a Blueground Pass for 6 or 12 months, but there isn't any pricing details listed on their site, you have to get in touch with them for that. But if you're traveling with a pet, and if you're listening, Blueground, adding a flat fee for our fuzzy companion would be a great perk. Once you do decide on a place and book, there are a couple of additional steps which you might not have seen on sites like Airbnb, like the ID verification. So you upload your ID and then you take a picture of it with your phone, and then that goes up to Blueground, and it takes about a day or so for them to verify your identity. Also, there's a short questionnaire as to why you decided to book that particular apartment, whether it's traveling for business or for pleasure, or you're a digital nomad. Just a couple of questions to get a better idea of why you decided to rent that particular place. All right, so the booking process could just be a lot better. Also, the photos on the site, because they are so consistent between their apartments in terms of the design, it can be a little bit difficult to distinguish between the apartments. They do have 3D views on some of the apartments, they do have 360 views on some of them, but a video view of just someone taking with their phone just a quick walkthrough of the apartment would be much more helpful than the photos, because that would just give you a better idea of how the space feels overall. You do get a few other perks when you rent a Blueground apartment, like discounts at Equinox or discounts to HelloFresh, for example. So they do have a couple of other services which come with the apartment rental, which can help you save money once you arrive. Once you do book a place, though, the furnishing is top notch. The furniture, from the couch to the granite tables and minimalist lamps, are all new or in very, very good shape. You'll have at least one large screen TV with complimentary YouTube TV, giving you more than 85 channels to stream from. All the apartments seem to have this Marshall Bluetooth speaker as well, and the appliances are all in nearly new condition. The silverware and pots and pans are high quality, and the kitchens are fully stocked. If you're like me and you cook most of your meals, you'll really appreciate having tools like a strainer, grater, and a set of sharp knives for chopping. The refrigerator, coffee maker, microwave, again, all top notch, and you definitely don't feel like Blueground have skimped on interior furnishing. It's a premium service that does deliver on a premium feel. Blueground also does a great job of interior design. Not only the color scheme, but also placing the furniture and appliances in a way that complement the space. This particular Denver apartment is quite small, just under 450 square feet or 42 square meters, but it feels larger than it is. A lot of that has to do with how well the space is used and the furniture is staged. Moving on to the rest of the apartment, the bed sheets and blanket are really soft. I'm not sure what the thread count is, but it feels like the linens you'd find at a high-end hotel. When you move in, Blueground also have some fancy shampoo, conditioner, and lotions waiting for you, as well as soft towels and a hair dryer and ironing board. And there's a lot I'm leaving out, but to sum it up, you don't feel like you're living in someone else's apartment, because you're not. And Blueground have made it really easy to move in. You've got closet and shelf space, paper towels, toilet paper, and soap, all top shelf or close to it quality, which makes for a very comfortable moving in experience. Oh, and the internet, I didn't mention it, but the internet, yeah, it's fast. Like really, really fast. To me, Blueground is a service that fits a growing niche. People who can work remotely and maybe want to go to another city, and digital nomads who have a little bit more disposable income and frankly don't want to live in someone else's home rental, where the owner, the place, the design, and the furnishings can vary widely from place to place. The Blueground does a very good job of the premium experience. The apartments are very nice, the customer service is responsive, and their app lets you manage bookings and find out useful information like where to put out the trash and the Wi-Fi password as well. So I don't think Blueground should shy away from showing those higher prices in the search results. If you've seen my video on how Airbnb rips you off with cleaning fees, you know this is because of an effect called reference pricing, where the first price you see in the search results is the one you feel like you're paying, no matter what fees are tacked on later. But that makes it hard to trust your Blueground search results and doesn't leave you with a good feeling. Also, not having user ratings or reviews or any kind of feedback where you can leave your opinion on a place makes it really difficult when you're searching for an apartment to gauge what a neighborhood is like, or quirks of the apartment, or what actually being in that space is like or has been like for other users. In my case, I don't really like having a large glass panel on this ground level street-facing door, which was omitted conveniently from the apartment photos. Perhaps another renter might have felt the same way, but you wouldn't know because there's no user rating or review system for you to actually see their comments. Airbnb, for contrast, does a pretty good job of ratings, breaking them down by categories like cleanliness, location, and value. Blueground should just straight up copy Airbnb's review and rating system, make something very similar to it because it works, and it's really useful for someone who's actually searching for an apartment. One other thing Blueground could really improve upon is making it easier to be flexible with the apartments. In other words, if you show up at a place and you don't like it, they don't tell you this because it's not in any of the fine print, but if you wanted to change that apartment for whatever reason, there's a $1,500 rebooking fee. That fee is not in their guest agreement or terms and conditions, and if there was some kind of review or rating system on the site, there might be less renter's remorse. There's also a fee for insurance, but that insurance doesn't apply to you. So if you're renting for 1 or 12 months or longer than that, you don't get any renter's insurance with the actual apartment. So that's something to note. To protect yourself from theft or fire, you're going to want to get separate insurance to make sure that all of your stuff is covered. And it would be really great if Blueground had some kind of insurance that came with the apartments or that you could buy as an add-on to the apartment. That would be really useful because, again, this is a premium service and they are renting out these apartments for a minimum of 1 month. And most people, I'm guessing, are going to rent for 3, 6, or 12 months, longer durations. So having insurance packaged in there would help differentiate the service from Airbnb and be really useful to a lot of renters. To me, what it comes down to when I was doing this review, the thing I kept thinking is, what kind of service does the Blueground want to be? They position themselves as this premium digital nomad professional apartment rental service, but it also feels just very corporate at the same time. Like, just show people the prices. People who are using Blueground or interested in it are willing to pay a premium for the nice sheets, for the apartment design, for all the fully stocked kitchen, all that stuff. So this is a service for people who are already looking for a premium apartment experience and are willing to pay for it. Put in a review and rating system so that users could see what other renters have experienced in an apartment and get more visibility into what it's actually like to live there. Blueground have really got the premium part down, but they really need to work on the personal factor. Still, despite all of the downsides, the Blueground is a service that I'd be willing to use again. It's a nice experience when you show up at the apartment. You know what you're gonna get. The consistency is pretty amazing from apartment to apartment. And even though the booking process is aggravating, like very aggravating, I feel like since I've been through it now a couple of times, I know what aggravation to expect. So it's a little less painful. But I think for a lot of you, that obstacle, the aggravation of searching, the prices that don't line up when you see the search results and you click through and now the apartment is like $500 or $1,000 more, or you get a bunch of fees after the fact, or if you book with a credit card, they take another 35-40% fee as a deposit. All of those things when you're booking, just I think for a lot of people are going to be a hurdle and just really keep them from using the service at all, which is a shame because Blueground have gotten a lot right with the physical apartments themselves. They've done a lot of the hard work of creating this premium apartment network that people can rent in 18 cities around the world. And I feel like the things that they do get wrong are going to be a lot easier to fix in comparison into what they've already built. That's my review of the Blueground. Let me know if you have any questions or comments if you've used this service. Let's create our own mini review and rating system down in the comments section below. And while you're down there, hit the like and subscribe buttons. I'll have new videos for you every week, and I'll see you in the next video.